Yeah, good afternoon to one and all. And today concept is about compiler construction tools. After knowing what the basics of the fundamentals of the compiler and how the process of compilation is carried out, by knowing all the fundamental things about the compiler, now we are going to learn about the other concept. The name of that concept is compiler construction tools. And before going in detail about how many construction tools that we are having here, and knowing about the description of each and every individual construction tool, first of all we have to know about some features of the good compilers. Some features of the good compilers. Here I'm explaining some of the features of good compilers, and make a note of these features. The first feature of the compiler, when we call that compiler as a good compiler, means the first feature of the compiler is the compiler compiles the large amount of code in less time. If the compiler compiles the large amount of code in less time, then we can call that type of a compiler is a good compiler. So this is taking as in one of the feature of the compiler. And the next feature is that, for example, I'm compiling a large amount of the code. I'm compiling a large amount of the code. If my compiler requires less amount of memory space to compile the source language, then that type of compilers can be called as a good compilers. Taking of less memory space. This is one of the feature. The first feature is an large amount of code in less time, compiles the large amount of code in less time. And the second one is an requires less amount of memory space to compile the source language. And what the third one is, only compiling the modified code wherever it is necessary, wherever we want to modify the code, there itself we are compiling. We are not compiling the overall entire program. Then automatically what will happen? Then automatically what we are going to improve? We are going to improve the efficiency of the code. We are improving the efficiency of the code. And that's the another feature, that is compiler can compile only the modified code segment. Only compile the modified code segment if frequent modifications are required in the source program. For if any condition, this feature we can take it in an if any condition. If any condition means if any errors occur, then only we are doing the modification in the code. If not, we need not to do any modification. And what the other feature is, for example, while handling the hardware interrupts, and these compilers should interact closely with the operating system. Compilers interacts closely with the operating system. So here I explained the 4 features of good compilers. Again, I'm repeating the feature number 1, that is an compiling the large amount of code in an less time. See, before going in detail, knowing about what the compiler construction tools, just I am briefing out the features of the good compiler. Make a note of this. Briefing out the features of the good compiler in an 4 features. But briefing in an 4 features. What the first feature is? First feature is compiles the large amount of code in an less time. That is the most important feature. If you write any code after compilation, if the code is a large amount of the code, the code should take some less time for the process of compilation. Then it can comes under a good compiler. And make a note of the feature number 1, compiler compiles the large amount of code in a less time. And feature number 2, requires less amount of memory space to compile the source language. Requires less amount of memory space to compile the source language. And what the third feature is, compile only the modified code. Compile only the modified code wherever it is required. And what the fourth one is, while handling the hardware interrupts, the compilers should closely interact with the operating system. These are the 4 most important features of compilers, and we are calling them as an good compilers. If the compiler is having all these 4 features, then the compiler is a good compiler. And now explaining the today's concept, that is an compiler construction tools. See, here we're having the 5 construction tools. If all of you see the slide that I shared to you, here the slide consisting of the name of the concept, that is in compiler construction tools, and here we're having 5 tools. One is an parser generator, the second one is a scanner generator, and the third one is an syntax directed translation engine, and the fourth one is an automatic code generator, and finally the fifth one is a data flow engine. See, once again recalling the various phases of compilation, where the various phases of consisting of 6 main phases. The various phases of compilation consisting of 6 phases, main 6 phases. What are those? What are those? One is an lexical analyzer. The second one is an parser. That means syntax analyzer. The third one is an semantic analyzer. The fourth is an intermediate code generator. And the fifth one is an code optimization. And finally, the sixth one is an code generation. And by using these 6 phases, we are implementing the process of compilation. And to implement the process of compilation, these are the tools that we are using. These are the tools that we are using for implementing the phases of compilation. See here, what the second phase of our compiler? Second phase of the compilation is syntax analyzer. See here, what the first tool here is parser generator. Syntax analyzer can also be called as an parser, as already explained in the last class. What this parser generator is a tool, what this parser generator is going to be produced, and syntax analyzer. And what the first phase of the compiler? It is a lexical analyzer, can also be called as an scanner. This scanner generator is a tool here, is one of the construction tool. By using this tool, we are implementing the lexical analyzer phase. And what it is going to be produced? And lexical analyzers. And the third one is an syntax directed translation engine. Syntax directed translation engine, where by using this tool, what we are doing is we're generating the intermediate code representations. We're generating an intermediate code representations. And the fourth one is an automatic code generator. By using this type of tool, what we are going to generate is generating an actual code, that is a target code, which is in the form of a machine level language. And the final one, that is a data flow engine, where this by using this data flow engines are basically useful in code optimizations. This tool is always supports the optimization techniques. This is a briefing out of compiler construction tools. While going in detail about what the each tool task is to be, or how the parser generator is going to be performed, and how the scanner is going to be performed, scanner generator is going to be performed. And now we're seeing what type of a task that each and every individual tool is going to be performed. See, parser generator. See, all of you make a note here. The first thing is, in what type of a specification that we are using as an input to generate the parser. The second question is, what type of a tool that we are implementing here, that we are using here. The third question is, in which the third one is, which type of an utilities that you are utilizing here. Which type of an utilities that we are utilizing here. See, once all of you see the slide, then you can clearly understand how many tools that we are having. Yeah, all of you make a note of all these 5 tools, and now I am going in detail explanation of each and every tool. And before explaining the parser generator, first I need to explain what the terminologies that we are having to call to naming it out of the construction tool. See here, writing a compiler is a very time consuming task. Writing a compiler is a very time consuming task. So for that, there are some specialized tools for helping in implementation of various phases of compilers, and these tools are called as a compiler construction tools. This is why we are using this. This is the answer for why we are using these compiler construction tools. So writing a compiler is a very time consuming task. For that, for taking that as a reason, and now here we are having some specialized tools for helping in implementation of various phases of the compilers. These tools are called as compiler construction tools. Here, these tools can also be called as an compiler tools. Make a note of these terminologies, what I am spelling out. Compiler tools, compiler generator tools, or translator writing system, and these are all the various names that we are having for the construction tools. Explain about compiler generator tools, you need to explain all these 5. Explain about translator writing system, you need to explain all these 5. Explain about compiler tools, you need to explain all these 5. Or explain about compiler construction tools, you need to explain all these 5. See, the question, the answer is same for asking the question in 4 ways: compiler construction, and compiler generator, and finally translator writing system. And coming to the first tool, that is an parser generator. Here, these parser generators produces the syntax analyzers. Make a note of this. It produces the syntax analyzers in the form of a syntax tree. And here, the specification given to these generators are in the form of a context-free grammar. Underline the word context-free grammar. That means the input that we are taking in the form of a context-free grammar. Then by using the tool like a parser generator, it is going to be generate and produces an syntax analyzers. And produces an syntax analyzers. And Unix has a tool called YAC, Y8CC. YAC, yet another compiler compiles. This word I already explained in the last classes. Yet another compiler compiles, where it is one of the building tool of the compiler. By using YAC, YACC, by using this tool, we are going to produce the parsers. That means, which is a parser generator. This tool is an parser generator. YACC is an parser generator tool. See here, what the specification of the input should be in the form of a context-free grammar. And we are using the utilities of a Unix utility. In that, we are taking the tool like an YAC, at another compiler compiles. That tool, by using that tool, and the tool is useful for generating the parsers. That's it. That's it in detail explanation about what the parser generator and what type of an output that is going to be produced. Now coming to the first one, scanner generator. And the produces an lexical analyzer, scanner lexical analyzer. And the specification of this scanner generator is in the form of an regular expression. Means the input that we need to take in the form of an regular expression. Right, regular expressions. In the parser, the specification in the form of an context-free grammar. While coming to the scanner, the specification is in the form of an regular expression. Make a note and underline all this. And the utility for scanner generator, that we are using from the Unix is Lex, Lex. Lex is a tool. By this tool is useful for generating the scanners to produce the lexical analyzers. That's it. That's it about an scanner generator. Lex is a tool. We are implementing a tool like an Lex. This is also one of the building tool of the compilers. And what the next tool? Next tool is a syntax directed translation engine. The parse tree is scanned completely to generate an intermediate code. By using this tool, what the task that the tool is going to be performed is parse tree from the syntax. The parse tree is scanned completely to generate an intermediate code. Means the translation is done for each and every node in a tree. For example, I represent a tree structure. In the tree structure, I'm having external nodes. I'm having some external nodes and I'm having some internal nodes. Means by using this tool, what will happen is what the tool is going to be done is the translation is going to be done. What type of a translation? We're calling it as a translation schema. What type of a translation is going to be done? Giving the meaning for each and every node of the tree. Giving the meaning of each and every node of the tree. And that's what we're implementing with an syntax directed translation engine. And the next tool is an automatic code generator. Next tool is an automatic code generator. And these generators take an intermediate code as an input and converts each rule of the intermediate language into its equivalent machine language. That's what we done in the last class by seeing the translation statement example while implementing an process of compilation using various phases. And equivalent, what we were doing here by using the automatic code generators, what we are doing, we are converting the intermediate code language into its equivalent machine language. That means what we are doing, we are representing the corresponding sequence of machine instructions. That's it. We are representing the corresponding sequence of machine instructions from the templates in the intermediate code representation. From the templates from the intermediate code representation, what we are doing by using this tool like an automatic code generator, just representing the corresponding sequence of machine instructions. And the final tool, that is a data flow engine, which is the fifth tool in this. It always supports the optimization, and also this data flow analysis is required to perform good code optimization. So the data flow engines are basically useful in code optimizations. So this is about an data flow engine and how the data flow engine is acting as a tool by supporting the optimization techniques. And this is what the overall description of the compiler construction tools. I think you all understand about each and every tool in detail. And here syntax, in a syntax directed translation engine, the input is in the form of an tree structure, parse tree, abstract syntax tree. The input is in the form of an abstract syntax tree. Here in parser, input in the sense the specification should be in the form of an CFG. In scanner, the specification should be in the form of an regular expression. In syntax directed translation, the specification should be in the form of an abstract syntax tree. And in automatic code generators, the specification should be in the form of an templates. The templates is nothing but an 3-address code template. And finally, in data flow engine, by using this data flow analysis, these engines are acting as tools and they are supporting the optimization techniques. Here also the input, the specification that we are taking in the form of a template code in the sense 3-address code format. That's it. This is the clear and the in detail explanation about compiler construction tools. And now we're going to the next concept, bootstrapping. Now going to the next concept, that is bootstrapping. Once all of you see the slide that I shared to you, bootstrapping. What is the definition of the bootstrapping? What is the definition of the bootstrapping? What is the need of implementing this technique? Here with a single line statement, we are defining what the bootstrapping is. Compiling, make a note, compiling a compiler in its own language. Compiling a compiler in its own language is nothing but an bootstrapping. What it means is, for example, is a process in which simple language is used to translate in a more complicated program. Simple language is used to translate in a more complicated program. Again, which in turn may handle far more complicated program. And again, this complicated program can further handle even more complicated program. So and so on. The process can be going on like that, handling more and more complicated programs. So finally, we're defining the bootstrapping as an compiling a compiler in its own language. That means writing a compiler for any high-level language is a complicated process, as we all know. Very complicated process. So it takes a lot of time to write a compiler from the scratch. So simple language is used to generate the target code in some stages. Simple language is used to generate the target code in some stages. To clearly understand, for that, here we are going to implement an bootstrapping technique. For clearly understand that, we are implementing an bootstrapping technique. What the technique is here, in detail, we need not need an in detail concept and how the bootstrapping is constructed. We don't want all those. And according to our syllabus, what we need is what is an bootstrapping and how the bootstrapping is represented, and we can briefly explain with an example. That's enough here. According to our syllabus, we are not going in detail about an bootstrapping. See, here the structure is represented in an T format, where this T structure consisting of three languages, S, T, and I. S is an source language, T is an target language, I is an implementation language. Once you recall what the definition of the compiler is. Compiler compiles from source to target. In between, what we're doing, we're processing the compilation. That is nothing but an implementing the various phases of compiler. So the structure is source, target, and implementation, consisting of is characterized into three languages in a T structure format. S is an source, and T is an target, and I is an implementation. And S always compiles, and T always generates the code, and I is whatever we are going to writing the code in an implementation part, compiling in an source, generating an code in an target. This is the representation of the bootstrapping with a neat structure. See here, this is an example. I'm having two compilers, compiler 1, compiler 2, and I am generating the output, generating an output. This is in its own language, compiling the compilers in its own language. Compiler 1 by taking source as an L, by taking target as an A, and implementing with an P. You can use your own variables. No need to worry about what the L, what the A, what the P is. You can use X, Y, Z, whatever it may be. X, Y, Z, or any other variables you can use. And source, target, and implementation. See, this is in compiler 1, this is in compiler 2, and compiling these two compilers, then finally I'm getting an output, this one, this compiler. Finally, I'm getting an output in this way. That means compiling a compiler in its own language. That is nothing but an bootstrapping. Then going to the next topic, that is in cross compilers. Cross compilers. What is the definition of the cross compiler is? What the definition of the cross compiler is? Compiler which run on one machine. Make a note of this. Compiler which run on one machine and produces the target code for another machine. Such a compilers can be called as in cross compilers. In the name itself, crossing. Compilers, here I define one thing. Compilers that work on one platform and generates the code for another. That is another way of defining the cross compiler. Here I'm having I am explaining with another definition. Make a note. Compilers which run on one machine and produces the target code for another machine. Such a compilers can be called as an cross compiler. See here we're having a neat examples, a neat structure with an examples. And why we are doing this cross compilers? What is the need of doing this cross compilers? Doing this, performing the techniques of these cross compilers, automatically we can achieve the platform independency. automatically to achieve the platform independency. So we're choosing these cross compiler techniques. One thing, what is the need of using these techniques? Just to achieve the platform independency, we are using this cross compiler techniques. That's the answer for need. What is the need? And that is the definition. Compiler runs on one machine and produces the target code on another machine. See the structures here, we're having two-step structures. So step number one, this is one example and this is another example. See, I'm having compiler 1 and compiler 2 crossing out in another compiler, another machine. That means, see, for example, if you take an C program, after writing the code, what I'm doing, I'm running an code in one machine. In that machine only, I'm compiling that by using the C compilers. In that machine only, I am generating the code. That's it. That is an regular thing that everyone is going to be execute and program. But here while coming to the cross compilers, writing and code in one machine, running, executing and code or generating the code in another machine. Writing and code in one machine and generating and code in another machine. That is nothing but a cross compiler. See, compiler 1 LLB and compiler 2 LAA. Compiler 1 plus compiler 2, the output that I am going to execute is an LAB output. This is another machine compiler. These two are working in one machine and I am generating an output in another machine. So see here, compiler 1 LLB and compiler 2 LAB. See here, in both conditions, see, these two are running in one machine and I am generating the code in this machine. So this is nothing but a cross compiler. See, we are having another type of a compiler, that is incremental compiler. Make a note of this incremental compiler. What an incremental compiler is? Compiler which performs the recompilation of only modified source rather than compiling the whole source program. That is nothing but an incremental compiler. What it means is performing the recompilation for only at the place of modified source. I am not compiling the whole program. If I'm having any, if I done any modifications, I am recompiling at there itself, at the modified code itself, not for the whole program. That way, calling it as an incremental compiler. And by performing this incremental compiler, we're having some basic features. Feature number one is automatically by performing the process of incremental compilation is effective on maintenance. And here, less task than the recompilation. Means after performing the incremental compiler, it takes less task than the recompilation, and it always produces the same result as the full recompilation. If I get an output after compiling, and for example, I get a plus b is equal to 5, and after performing an intermediate compiler by doing the recompilation, again I'll get the same output like a plus b is equal to 5. There is no change in getting an output code. And these are the most important basic features of incremental compiler. Why I am saying this incremental compiler, why I am explaining this incremental compiler means incremental compiler and cross compilers comes under the types of compilers. Comes under the concept like types of compilers. Explain about the types of compilers. First, you need to explain what the cross compiler is with an example by giving the need structure, and then explain about an incremental compiler. And there you need to define what the basic features of incremental compiler if after implementing the compiler, after implementing that incrementation, after performing the incremental, what type of and basic features that we are getting. These are the two most important types of compilers, incremental compiler and cross compiler. And that's it. This is about today's class, today's concepts in our session. One is about construction tools, And before the construction tools, explaining the construction tools, I explained what the basic features of good compilers are. Good compilers features, I explained about the features of good compilers, and then I explained you the compiler construction tools, and then I explained you about what the bootstrapping is and how the representation of the bootstrapping is, and with how we can take an examples, how we can show the example within the T structure, and then about the cross compiler with the examples, and finally with an incremental compiler. So, and again, I explained what the features of the incremental compiler. If you done a recompilation, what the most important features that we are getting while performing the incremental compiler. These are the today's concepts that I explained you. I think you all understand. This is part 1 in unit 1. With this part 1, we completed half of the syllabus, and in the next class, I'm going to deliver about the lexical analysis, where it is the phase number 1 in process of compilation.